Assalamu alaikum. Have a good day. Welcome to Financial Management eLearning. Today we are going to discuss the cost accounting. We are in domain activity-based costing. We are in module 13. Today we will discuss the activity-based costing, the contemporary manufacturing environment, limitation of traditional costing system, ABC defined, identifying activities that you use resource, cost drivers and choose of cost drivers, assigning cost using activity-based costing, benefit of activity-based costing, and criticism of ABC and ABC's strategic cost management. So the contemporary manufacturing environment. So modern manufacturing is at the core of industrial production, from base material to semi-finished goods and final product. Manufacturing is the production of products for users sale using labor and machine tools. Modern manufacturing include all intermediate process incurred in the production and integration to the production component. On the other hand, most manufacturing may involve significant social and environmental tools using for manufacturing robot and using for data processing or transaction for the blockchain, using the blockchain technology. Look, here is a layer of a digital factory is here, factory layout design and procurement planning is here, and robotic is used here, material flow is here, energy consumption, manufacturing network, consumer demand and market development, and economic and process design planning, systems planning and control, all together as the manufacturing environment today's. So today's manufacturing environment consists of all technologies, engineering, supply chain, finance, accounts, marketing, and research, development, and socioeconomics, everything, technology, everything are using today's environment, in the market environment. So traditional costing is the allocation of factory overhead to produce based on the volume of production resource consumed. Under this method, overhead is usually applied based on either the amount of direct labor hours consumed or machine hour used. So traditional costing is the allocation of factory overhead to products based on the volume of production resource consumed. So traditional costing system, here a product cost is a direct labor, direct material, and factory overhead is the base accumulated this cost is the product cost, and period costs are administrative expenses, etc. Look here, allocation of common cost under traditional method. Look here, direct material, labor, other expense, production overhead, etc. is assigned for the cost on the user basis to the production department, and then as a product line also allocation the cost of volume basis. So limitation of traditional costing system. Not an exact science, this is traditional system, and it's a very sweet purpose, and it's not given an outright solution. Most of the cost accounting techniques are based on some pre-assumed knowledge, and the apportionment of the common cost comes under a lot of criticism. There are different views held by the different expertise, and the treatment of the certain items of cost, and less manageable cost and arbitrary allocation of standard costing techniques of an allocation cost based on a standard, but sometimes it is not accurate or not would be the effective way to allocate this. And variance analysis also is a problem is losing control and viability of cost derives, and also the learning the wrong aspects of cost dynamics, and profit enhancements through unit cost reduction, but actually not profit comes here because the unit cost is determination of its unit cost is wrong sometimes, and margin enhance the profit enhancement, reducing cost of reducing a standard. So when using a standard costing techniques, costs are allocated based on a standard labor hour, etc. So these are the main problems or limitations of traditional cost. Now, the activity-based costing. We know activity-based costing is a tool to aid decision making. It's better costing or better decision also, we can say it. So, activity-based costing, this approach to costing that focus on activities as the fundamental cost objects. It uses the cost to these activities as the basis of assigning cost to other cost offset such as product, service, or customs. So activity, look here, this activities goes to the cost of activities, and then cost objects such as product, service, etc. is here customer also. Activity costing is an approach for allocating overhead cost. An activity is an event that incurred cost. A cost driver is any factor, a cost driver is any factor or activity that has a direct cause and effect relationship with the resource consumed. This costing is a two-stage costing method in which overhead costs are assigned to overhead cost pools, and the cost in each pool are applied to products based on the amount of activities there. Look here, this is the traditional approach, is allocated directly to the object, the product or service, but activity-based costing, there are two stages. Basic steps for activity costing: identify and classify the activities related to the company's products or service, and then estimate the cost associated with each activity. And after that, calculate a cost driver rate for each activity, and then assign activity cost to products using the cost driver rate. So look here, this is the general ledger budget here, indirect cost, direct cost assigned to the aggregation and the indirect cost pool, and come here indirect cost, and then allocate to the activity cost pool, then comes to activity cost and divided by the driver, and cost object is here. So that 4 stages. Look here, identify so we can say the activity-based costings involve the 4 steps. Identify the activities, identify the cost drivers associated with the activities, and then compute a cost rate per cost driver, unit or transaction, and then finally we have to assign cost to products. This is the 4 steps for activity-based costing. And identifying activities that use resource, that means activity maintenance. So resource description would be equipment, labor, and plant. Inspection activities, and resource would be test equipment, inspections, etc. Unit inspected. And packaging is the resource would be materials, labor, and various build and payable processing, clerk, material equipment, and facility, and then assembly, the convertible, and then supervision, etc. And identify activities that use resource. So transaction in and resource use within the activities, and transaction out. So often the most interesting and challenging part of the exercise is identifying activities that use the resource, because doing so requires understanding all activities required to make a product. In fact, such of this value of activity activity-based costing comes from the exercise even without changing the way product costs are computed. So look here, that stage also we can say that the identifying activity and activity falls directly trace or estimated cost to activity and cost object, assign cost to activity cost pools, and calculate activity cost driver's rate, assign cost to the cost object. Then we have to prepare the reports. So cost drivers and choose a cost driver. So what is cost driver? If we see here, the cost driver is the unit of an activity that cause the change in activity's cost. Cost driver is any factor which cause a change in the cost of an activities. So look here, the activities are materially used to production is cost driver. Driver is a dollar value of material issued or taka value of material issued. Production scheduling, number of setup, processing time, inventory procurement schedule, number of supplier, inventory control, user storage capacity, managing employees, number of employees, managing business, it is the activity. So taka value of sale is the cost driver, and display final product is the activity. So number of driver is number of, so cost driver and number of outlets. So billing and collection of money is the activity, and a cost driver is the taka value of credit sale or dollar value of credit sale. So is the activities and cost drivers here, and choose the cost driver. Choosing cost driver we have seen in here in this table. So there's the types of cost drive that's companies use. Most are related either to the volume of production, most are related to either to the volume of production or to the complexity of the production or marketing process. An activity is any part of transaction that is a cost driver, that is act as a causal factor in the incurring the cost of an organization. Here the cost driver activity makes a major cost driver. That means it be a number of unique part number, so associated overhead activities, purchasing, receiving a storage, cycle counting. So is purchasing require manpower, receiving manpower, flight, storage, safety stock level, space, it's in manpower, flight, and that was counting require manpower. So this come the boundary section, his number is boundary engineering, fighting, etc. and subordinate level is a minor cost driver. Is here is the major cost driver here. So the best cost driver is one that is causally related to the cost billing allocation, and finding an allocation based on the causally related to the cost of is often not possible. With ABC system, the selection of an allocation base or cost driver is often easier because we can use a measure of the activity volume. Okay, so look here is the activity and products based on the activity raise and putting in the summation of total activities. This comes to product. So cost driver is the cost driver selected based on the three criteria. You know, one is causal relation, another benefits received, another fairness. So causal relation, it should be a cost drive that causes the cost. This is the best cost drive available. So benefit received, choose a cost drive to assign cost in proportion benefit received. And fairness, when the first two criteria fail, then assign cost on the basis of the fairness. So machine setup, purchasing order, quality inspection, etc. are the cost driver, and also maintenance and machine time, milestones, etc. are the cost driver. So compute of cost rate per cost driver. We can calculate this way, predetermine that rate. We know the predetermined rate that means estimated indirect cost divided by estimated volume of allocation basis. So activity advertising, resource or cost driver, gross sale, and number of promotional channel use, etc. Resource supply material, activity drivers should be advertising needed, and cost object product and our customers. This is the total activities is here: advertising, selling, warehousing, shipping, customer service, etc. And activity drivers is also here. So ABC cost driver, resource, activity driver, and cost object listed in this sheet. So assignment cost using activity-based costing and a benefit of ABC. So activity-based costing improves the costing system of organization in the following ways. This is more accurate costing product or service, better understanding overhead, easier to understand for everyone, utilize unit cost rather than just total cost, integrated well with Six Sigma and other continuous improvement programs, make visual waste and non-failure added, support to performance and management and scorecard, enable costing to process, supply chain and value stream, activities costing, mirror where the work is done, facilitate a benchmarking is a benefit of ABC. So if we see here cost flow under activity-based costing method, here first stage is overhead based on the overhead activity cost pool taking there and multiply by the this rate, and that means indirect cost and comes to object, cost object, all cost putting in the cost object separately and making the rate cost allocation basis, activity overhead rate, activity overhead rate, and activity cost multiplied by the overhead rate, then we will get overhead from the ABC costing. Then in the second stage, we allocate each to the cost object. Two-stage costing system, we know, assigning cost to product. The final stage of the activity-based costing is the costing system is to assign the activity cost to the products. And if we see the plant-wide allocation method, also we have seen in my previous module, the plant-wide allocation method is an allocation method that use one cost pool or indirect cost for the entire plant. Okay, and single stage approach is used there. So look here, it is used one overhead allocation rate. It's one stage. That means a direct cost, direct material labor assigned to cost object, product or service, and indirect cost, manufacturing overhead, and a single stage allocated to the product cost, product and service. So although it is called plan-wise allocation, this allocation concept can be used in the both manufacturing and non-manufacturing overhead. So now two-stage approach of product costing, two stages. This is the single stage, the plant-wide allocation method, and the two stages direct cost all assigned to the cost object and indirect cost, manufacturing overhead. First stage allocation to cost pool, and second stage to allocation to the product object. So this is the two stage for overhead allocation. The first stage cost, first stage cost object, cost pool are the overhead accounting computed by the cost accounting system, and two stage is the separate plant or manufacturing overhead into two or more cost pool based on the account in the cost we are allocated. The allocation in the first stage permits selection of multiple costs derived that can be used to allocate cost products. Okay, a departmental allocation method also, if we see here, department has its own overhead allocation rate or set of rate, and that rate, putting that all departmental rate and allocate to the product or determine the product cost. Criticism of activity-based costing is more time consuming to collect data. Cost by implementing or maintaining cost activity-based costing requires sub-essential resource for calculating activity-based costing. Activity-based costing produce numbers as a product margin that are earned with the numbers of product by traditional cost system, and activity-based costing data can be easily manipulated, and reports generated by the system is not confirmed the generally accepted accounting practice. So is the criticism, because main criticism is more time consuming to collect data. So a design of ABC system. If we want to design ABC system within an organization, what do we have to do? Objective ABC system, that ABC team require the activities costing team and organizational issue taking and identify of the activities and identification of the primary cost driver and activity cost pool, taking the secondary cost drivers and cost object that compare to the product cost with the traditional costing, and also implement it within the organization. This is the design of a ABC system within an organization. So ABC and strategic cost management, and cost management allow us to view the cost benefit relationship of various activities, setting the stage or more informed design. Cost management generally begins with the initial planning of cost, continuous through cost tracking, and analyze the information collected. That includes the evaluates the decision based on the information from the previous stage. So there is no set blueprint of the cost management system, and this stage may be organized differently to meet different organizations as per their requirements. So look, here is the management practices and strategic management accounting, other management accounting technique using here, and orientation that to external, orientation or internal, external impacts the strategic positioning, competitive advantage, market share, and internally cost reduction, cost management, cost control, and performance evaluation, product management, etc. We have taken it from this side, this website, okay? And the 4 distinct stages of interacting with the design of any stage of ABC costing, and that means cost planning, cost tracking, cost analysis, and the evaluation and decision of activity-based costing. So the cost planning include activities such as cost estimating, forecasting, and budgeting. And cost tracking include a discrete code of activities and their associated costs, such as personal timesheet, expenses accumulation, and the use of financial system. And cost analysis includes reporting on actual cost incurred and an analysis of this cost. And evaluation and design includes the evaluation of the cost with process change, implementation as necessary, regular consideration of shifting funding, resource, and position, assessment of current assets management and resource utilization, and decision-making resource cost recovery. So ABC implementation success will depend on top management support within the organization and non-accounting ownership, adequate resource linked to the performance evaluation, ABC system training, links to quality initiatives. So if any organization want to establish a good or best practice activity-based costing system within the organization, it should be take the top management support, need the adequate resource, read the link performance evaluation, require the proper training, proper knowledge for using that, and link to the quality initiative. So it is the ABC implementer success with the organizations. And now we are going to discuss few examples here. For example, activity versus traditional costing. So if company makes two types of balls, one has hollow center and another a solid center. Okay, two products. The same equipment is used to produce the ball in different rounds. Between bases, the equipment is cleared and maintained and set up to the proper configuration for the next base. The hollow center ball are packed with two balls per packet and a solid center ball are packed one per package. During the year, if we are expected to make 1 million hollow center ball and 2 million solid center ball, the overhead cost incurred in the have the allocated activity pool, that means purchasing materials, setup machine, packaging, testing, cleaning and maintenance. Total overall cost is 14,08,820. And by the analyzing the activity pool, look here, so activity pool, analyzing the activity pool, the accountant, production manager have identified the cost drivers, estimated the total expected units for each product and calculated the unit cost for each cost driver. So look here, this is the activities, is the cost driver is here. For example, purchasing materials, the cost driver is purchase order. So setup machine, cost driver is setup. So total expected unit for cost driver 100, and total cost 2 lakh. This 2 lakh is the same. Okay, so if we divide this 2 lakh by the 100, then we will get 2000. So cost per cost driver, unit cost per cost driver is here. So purchasing of materials is cost driver is purchase orders, and total expected unit, that will purchase order 100 and total cost 2 lakh. So we divided 2 lakh by 100 number of purchase order, then per purchase order is 2000 is the expense, is the activities. So we have to calculate all is here. Rate would be the same, different rate. So activity purchasing, cost driver purchasing order, unit cost 2000 we given here, and two product, slow and hollow. So 50-50 purchase order is 1 lakh and 1 lakh. So I think this after calculating all thing we get total 5,21,000 for the product one, the hollow center ball, and another one solid center ball. It is 8,87,500. So based on the activities here, ABC assigning cost is this one. And now if we go for calculate the per unit overhead cost under the ABC, the cost assigned to each product are derived by the number of unit produced. In case the unit of the hollow center ball is 52 paisa and the solid 44 paisa. How we calculate it? Look here. Overhead cost assigned to hollow center ball here 5,21,320, and we divided by 1 million or 10 lakh. So we get 0.521. This 0.521 means 0.52. Okay, so and overhead cost assigned to the solid center ball 8,87,500, and we divide a number of solid units 20 lakh, then we get 0.44. This 44. Okay, so rate is here. Now under the traditional method of allocating overhead based on the direct labor per dollar, the total cost for all balls would be derived by the total direct labor dollar for all balls to determine per unit cost. Estimated direct labor cost for the year 15,12,000 for and which taka 3,78,000 for the hollow center and 11,34,000 for the solid center. So is the material cost, and as per the unit labor cost 38 paisa for hollow center ball, that means 3,30,000, and per unit direct labor cost per solid center is 11,30,000 divided by 20 lakh, we get 0.57 taka. So per unit cost of produce ball is calculated in two stages. We determine overhead rate, we calculate here and allocate overhead each type of activities within the product. So calculate the overhead part, determine the dollars here also, total overhead cost 14 lakh and total direct labor hour, this one, it is the labor hour and allocation to overhead. So it's come here, hello center, overhead cost per direct labor dollar per direct labor dollar, labor or taka, 0.352 overhead per unit and solid 0.528. So both rate. So now look here, this for the traditional and this for the activity base. So look here, so what is the difference? So if we compare here, it is very much resulted here. So hello center ball under the activity base costing per unit overhead cost is 0.52 and traditional is 0.35. And solid center ball is the under the ABC costing 0.44 and here 0.53. So look, this is the difference between the activity based costing and traditional costing. The rate of overhead allocation rate is different. So activity based product costing, if you see here, look, this is the activity, it's the direct cost of resource. That means a direct tracing and resource driver assign cost to the first stage 1 activity pool, and then activity drive, which we find out the activity drivers, and the second stage cost assigned to the product. The functional based costing also involved two stages, however overhead cost traced to departments and to activity and then traced to the products. Functional based costing and activity based costing, if we compare here, first stage functional based costing traced cost to the plant or department and activities cost traced cost to the activities. So it is the difference is the functional is the traced cost to plant or department in the first stage, but activities cost is traced cost to activities. And second stage, assign cost to the product under the functional based costing. Under the activity based costing, assess cost to the assign cost to the product. The second stage is the same, and cost tracing, usually allocation under the functional base, and activities in process, direct tracing and driver tracing. So activity driver would be unit level under the functional costing and unit level and non-unit level both under the activity based costing. So if we see, if we look at the previous thing, that means cost driver. So what is cost driver? A cost driver is a characteristics of an event or activity that result in the increase in the cost. Activity pole, it is a measure of the frequency of density of demand placed on the activities by cost offset. So, and cost reduction may be defined as the achievement of the real and permanent reduction in the unit cost of goods manufactured or services rendered without improving their suitable for the use of intended in the quality of the product. And opportunity cost is primarily in the economic concept, and economy is the opportunity cost is a designated alternative in the generates net benefit lost by the selection and alternative. Compute overhead cost as per the signing. Look here. So I think this thing you download from my Google Drive. Here all solution is including here, so you can easily you would be able to do it. Motokane PLC produce ball pen that are printed with the logo of various companies. Each pen is priced at Dakar Pi. Cost are as follows. Unit sold, that is cost driver. Unit variable cost 2.5. Setup Number of setup 225, level of cost driver 40, engineering hour 10 hour, level of cost driver 250. So other data, total fixed cost conventional 48,000, fixed cost ABC 36,500. Compute the break even point in unit using activity based analysis. So break even units, fixed cost plus setup cost multiplied setup plus engineering cost multiplied by engineering hours divided by sale price minus variable cost. If we do so, then we'll get 19,200 unit. Okay, this is the break-even unit. Okay, now number B. Suppose the company could reduce the setup cost by taka 75 per setup and could reduce the number of engineering hour reduced to 115. How many units must be sold to break even in this case? So look here, the same way, same formula. If we put all data in here, so just what is change? Change is there 250, now 215. Okay, and here 225, here 150. So total units 17,860. So it's okay, I think. So I'm including huge math with the solution just to do it. It is very much easy for you. You will be able to access in your exam, inshallah. So before concluding the lesson, what we have to do, what we should remember, the ABC costing. The ABC is a costing system which focus on activities performed to produce product. So okay, we have to remember it. And the ABC developed due to the many differences in the traditional costing system. Okay, so here use a cost object, finding the cost driver, taking all expense based on the activities in the cost pool, and we have to find stage, identify the resource activity cost drive, resource drivers, determine the cost activity driver, assign to the cost object. Is that we have to remember this item, these things for when we'll do activity based costing. So it's all for today. Today we discuss the activity based costing, the contemporary manufacturing environment, limitation of traditional costing system, activity based costing defined and identifying activities that use resource, cost drivers and choose of cost drivers, assigning cost using activity based costing and activity based costing benefit, criticism of activity based costing and activity based and strategic cost management, and also we solved a few problems in here, also adding few problems for you. So it's all for today. We'll meet with you inshallah again with my next module. Till then, take care. Allah Hafiz.